Hello, Dean. I know it's all still quite fresh, but it's been a little bit. It's been just over a month since the highs of India. How do you explain the side going from the quality of performances produced there to the standards produced here in the last couple of days?
Hi, Stu. Yeah, it's something that I'm also trying to wrap my head around. I'm sure hopefully the next day or two I'll be able to process and give you that answer a lot clearer. But I do feel that our intensity obviously was lacking throughout the last 2 and a bit days. We know as a side when our intensity is high and we're operating at a certain level, we compete and we give ourselves the best chance of obviously getting a victory. So the reason and the why we maybe were lacking in that intensity department is still something that I'm still trying to process, and I was even trying to process that last night and still hadn't come to anything yet. So hopefully in the next day or two I'll be able to put my finger on the why we were lacking that. But again, totally outplayed by a classy New Zealand outfit in all 3 departments of the game.
Dennis, followed by Fidos.
Hi, Dean. Do you think maybe some of the off-the-field drama, I mean, it's well publicized, could have had an impact on those energy levels and intensity lacking a bit that you're talking about?
I don't think so, no. It's definitely not foreign conditions for us with regards to what happened or what's been happening off the field. No, I don't see that as an excuse. I think as a group we've kind of worked through that and kind of worked it out already. So no, I don't see that as being an influence within our camp. I guess individuals can maybe answer that in their own respect, but I definitely don't see it as an impact within with what's happened now in the last few days.
And just on that, do you think the quarantine had anything to do with it? Like, I mean, obviously you were there, you were training, but mentally, maybe did that put you in a different mind space?
I think it would have been nice to maybe have played a warm-up game. That will give us a little bit more of a clearer indication on the playing capacity. It's one thing maybe training at facilities and you almost give yourself a bit of a blueprint coming into a test, but we all know what match, if you try and replicate a match, you always, more times than none, get a clearer vision of what's kind of expected from a conditions and a playing point of view. But again, I'm not going to sit here and use quarantine as an excuse. I've always echoed that we professional outfits. We are to represent our country, and ultimately we need to be firing by the time match day comes. So I guess again, people might have different versions with regards to this question, but from my angle and my perspective, I definitely don't see that as an excuse for us. If it is an excuse, I think it's a very weak excuse for us to be using. We knew it was pretty clear cut that we have to come here and experience and respect the rules and regulations of New Zealand. Just the knowing factor that we had to live by those rules and regulations was something for us to get over and to get through. But I'm definitely not going to sit here and use it as an excuse for those.
We'll start with Ross, then I'll circle back to Stuart and Dennis.
Thanks very much, Simkazi. How's it been? About 13 of the 20 wickets that fell in the game for you guys were caught behind in the slip cordon or by the keeper. Could you say that maybe you guys were a little bit too defensive? You allowed them to keep that slip cordon packed the entire 2 innings, and you never got them to spread the field a bit. Timber showed sort of yesterday late afternoon with a bit of attacking intent to put them under pressure and maybe sort of get them off your guys' back a bit. Was that a problem maybe that you could put your finger on?
Yeah, I think that ties in with the intensity of play that we were lacking definitely on day one, especially with the bat in hand. when the ball's going around a little bit, you still have to have a positive mindset in a sense of you still have to look to score, you still have to look to keep the scoreboard ticking, but also in the same breath, you still have to remain pretty disciplined within your game plans. I think that just ties in with our intensity that has allowed us to become a team that gets victories under our belt. That is one area definitely that I can put my finger on. But again, there's still other areas that we need to obviously iron out in the next few days. But it's a good question, definitely. I did feel that our intensity was potentially not up to standard with regards to Test cricket quality.
Stu, Dennis, and then we'll take one more.
You've answered the batting part of it, so this is the question on the bowling part of it, Dean. Over the course of 118 overs, your bowlers only bowled 15 maidens, and as a captain, that gives you no control. What did you put that down to, the fact that your bowlers couldn't match their kind of consistency and relentlessness, I suppose?
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely frustrating being a captain and the ball's being hit both sides of the wicket. You can't set a field for that, and I think that's maybe down to execution / skill department. I can't say nerves or something, because we were already so deep into the game already. I think those nerves, if there were any, were out our system. And an extremely difficult thing to build pressure when runs are being scored both sides of the wicket. I think it also maybe boils down to guys trying too hard maybe. And we know the old cliche, the harder you try, the more you fail. That might have been a scenario for a few guys, but again, it's not an excuse at this level. If you want to compete and win, and you're playing against one of the best sides in the world, they're going to make you punish, and they're going to punish you severely, like they did with a batting hand. And almost you could see the wicket played differently. The ball was doing a lot less. It allowed their middle to lower order to come in and almost dictate the pace of play. And that was purely down to us not being consistent enough. I guess that's also another area for us to pinpoint as where we can be a lot better in. But saying that, we can be a lot better in many, many other facets of the game.
Dennis?
Tina, it's probably unfair to single out individual players after the whole team struggled, but a guy like Aiden has been struggling. I think he's averaging 9 in his last 10 innings. What do you think the reasons are, and is there maybe a conversation to be held for him to sit out for a while and someone else to come in maybe?
That's a good question. I mean, it's not foreign that he has been struggling, no doubt. I'm sure that conversation will come up with the selectors. From my point of view, maybe it's just the mental game that he's maybe fighting a little bit too much with regards to quality of player. We know he's a quality player, and he's only one innings away from turning a lot of things around for him. I think it's also the same case of trying too hard. The more you try, the more you fail sometimes. The conversation around his position is obviously been in the media, and I'm sure the selectors have to obviously have conversations around that. It's a very valid question around him as a person and his capacity within the side. I think maybe he needs to just stop trying so hard, because naturally he's a gifted player. And I think he's that one score away just from turning things around for himself and the side.
And finally, for those.
There's obviously nothing you could do about Lungi's back injury or KP not being available. But were you quite happy with the 11 that you were able to field, or are there any changes that you'd make? Obviously, it's just happened and the next test is away, but what else can you think of doing?
Again, that's another thing that we're going to have to sort out the next few days. But I was very comfortable with the 11 that we selected. Playing a spinner is always going to be a debate. I'm always a captain that is pro having a spinner, just from a stability point of view, and a guy like Kesh has done that for us over the last few seasons. But again, history tells you at the Hagley Oval, spin doesn't have much of an effect. Even though Aiden took 2 wickets, but they were pretty much batsman error wickets. And yeah, those are the kind of decisions you have to make, and willing to compete at this level. Playing in foreign conditions, you kind of have to go with what history tells you as well. So yeah, I was comfortable with the 4-seamer approach, knowing that against India we only really used 4-seamers as well, and spin wasn't a factor in South Africa. So yeah, it's a tough one, but you're always going to maybe doubt yourself or second guess yourself about, have you made the right decision, or have you given the correct info towards the selectors? But I think that comes with the nature of the job as well. But yeah, as I sit here now, I'm pretty comfortable with the nature of the 7-4 split that we went with. And yeah, the next few days will be an interesting one for us with regards to this very topic.
Thanks everyone for joining us. I will put out some content with Justin Salmons tomorrow. Please send me any questions you'd like to pose to him that I can include in that interview by close of business today, which is the 19th of February. Thank you. Have a good one.
Cheers.